All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome to another Lunch with Laura on this beautiful, actually a little bit chilly Tuesday today. Hope everyone's having a great week. I just want to welcome our new members. We're so glad to have you as part of our community. Make sure that you make the most of this group. Feel free to ask questions, chime in when you have answers. We have lots of free files and PDF downloads for you that are off to the side. So make sure that you take advantage of those. And today I don't have a whole lot of announcements. So what I'm going to do is welcome our Jessica, our very own, I should say, Jessica McGillivary. I've known Jessica for quite a few years. Oddly enough, before we even met, I had worked with her husband previously. And when he was working at a REIT company. So Jessica and I have been connected for a very long time. She actually has been with me since the very beginning of the agency back in 2015 and was a savior for me last year. So she has now gone off on her own, created her very own company, and I'm going to bring her on now so she can talk to you guys about her story and her successes. Hey, Jess.
Hey, Laura, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Doing great today. Doing great.
Good.
Yeah, I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, well, thanks for being with us. So, and actually the other thing I wanted to say is Jessica and I actually got to meet in person last year, which was really fun. It was awesome. I got to meet her and Alex, and hopefully we're going to meet up again in November, right?
Yep, that's the plan.
It's actually so cool when you are working virtually with somebody and then you meet them in person. It just throws a whole new dynamic into it, doesn't it?
It does. And it feels like I knew you for so long in person when I met you, when I got off that plane and met you for the first time. So it's great that we can meet partners and friendships online. It's just incredible.
It is. It is. I know. It's very true. It's funny. I have to say this first. So I was thinking about you today because we brought on 2 new relationship managers into Eva, and we're, starting to really get them like ramped up and running. And sometimes I feel like I'm missing a beat, and I'm like, it was just funny because with you, it's like you were in my head, and I like, it's like we shared a brain, and I was like, I never really had to give much direction because she just did everything exactly the way I did it. So I'm like, okay, I need more Jessicas in my life.
I feel the same way. I felt like we would text the same thing at the same time when we'd have an idea, or
I know
when things would happen. It's so cool to have a relationship like that. So
yes. So this is what collaborating can do, people. That's why I always tell you guys, collaborate with each other.
Yeah.
All right. So why don't we start by you just giving a little background on yourself?
Sure. Well, you gave a lot of background already right there. So, but to take it back to the early 2000s, I started off my virtual and production career in television broadcasting. I was going to be a news reporter. And I worked in a few news stations and quickly realized that wasn't for me. And I jumped, like most television broadcasting people, I did jump into software. It was the time where a lot of publications were moving from print to the online segment. So it was a cool time to be there. I was teaching people, advertisers, as well as people that worked in the businesses, how to transition. So that's where it started for me, my excitement about online and technology. So in 2009, I made the move to California with my husband, where I started my career in software. I worked as an affiliate manager in business development and recruiting at a number of companies like Entreport, Lynda.com, and Robert Half Recruiting. And as many of you know, Lynda.com actually got bought by LinkedIn Learning in 2015, and that's now LinkedIn Learning. So then I had my kids.
And then
life stopped. No, in a great way. But I wanted to work remote. I also have, my father is a survivor of a traumatic brain injury, and he moved out to California to be near us. So I had other reasons besides my kids to want to work remote before they came along. So it was always in the back of my mind. And so I made the decision to go ahead and try to find work remote. And that's where I started working for Elite Scheduling. I just had my daughter and was, trying to find any work I could. And then I got introduced to Laura from a mutual friend. And I started working with Elite Virtual Assistants. And I was a virtual assistant. I maybe had about 6 clients at one time, Laura, would you say?
A lot. Yes. You had quite a full plate.
Yeah, I did. And it was really humbling and exciting because I got to work with a lot of different types of businesses that I'd never stepped foot in, which was really exciting to me. And I hadn't really found my niche yet. But that experience helped me do that. And so just this past year, I had my aha moment. I realized with all my background, right, with recruiting and software and all of it, I stumbled into LinkedIn profiles every day. I basically, every time a VA would come and try to, join our team, I would jump into a LinkedIn profile. And it was there that I realized that was where I needed to be after working at lynda.com and loving the community and the cause. I just decided to go ahead and learn as much as I could about LinkedIn. And now I'm running a business where I do audits, creations, and edits of LinkedIn profiles and engagement. So that's it.
Yeah. Well, I remember you were always a really big proponent of LinkedIn, especially when we were even, looking for help, people to join our team. You always would go to LinkedIn first. What did you do specifically, to really help you learn as much as you could? Did you use lynda.com?
Yes. Well, I have a lifetime membership, which is fantastic. And lynda.com and LinkedIn Learning are one the same. So if you're in lynda.com, it's the same content that's in LinkedIn Learning. They just have both. But yes, I use lynda.com. I still use it every day. I'm constantly learning new things as new features and tools come out. But the first thing I did was I went in and I tried to learn as much as I could. I did every course I could possibly do, kind of like what we do in the VA space, right? Do as many courses. Technology is beautiful and we have the ability to learn anything. And so that's what I did. My nights, I would have my earpods in, listening and learning. And then I also tried to do as many LinkedIn profiles for friends, family, the nonprofit I work for, to kind of, learn how to do it right before I started, selling my services. And that's where I started. And then it just snowballed from there.
Yeah. And so tell them, what's the name of your company now?
Pointofinflection.net. So we do recruiting, and I still work with Laura, which is fantastic because I believe that everybody should outsource and delegate. Do what you do best and delegate the rest.
That's right. That's our slogan.
Like I still get to work with Laura, which is fantastic. But I am focusing heavily on helping job seekers, business owners, as well as virtual assistants and contractors create and develop 100% complete LinkedIn profile, as well as build a business page. And if you needed a showcase page, and then utilize engagement for your intention.
So did you envision yourself where you are now? Like when you first started in the VA space, or, where did you think you would be? And then you see where you are now. And
yeah, I had no idea. This was not where I thought I would be. You know that, Laura. I was not, thinking I'm going to go create my own business and start working in LinkedIn. But I did hope when the things happened in my life, like my kids and my father and living in California in a very remote town, I knew I wanted to work remote. I knew I wanted to be a business owner as well. But I waited until I found what my soul was calling, right? Mm-hmm. LinkedIn is something where I have this ability, and I know you know this, Laura, I love to connect people, right? I do it by accident. It happens all the time. And LinkedIn allows me a platform to be able to help somebody take who they are, or what their business brand or what their intention is, and put it on a page, and not just have it sit there, but have it just snowball into clients and partnerships and all sorts of good stuff. So it was just, for me, I didn't plan it at all, but very excited, very happy right now.
Yeah, I have to say too, I know a lot of people find clients on Facebook, which is great. And especially when you're first starting out, it's probably a good size client for you. But don't you feel that LinkedIn can really help get you? I feel like LinkedIn is just so much more, it's B2B. Mm-hmm. So it's more, I hate to say this without sounding, but it's just more professional.
It is.
And you're going to connect with more professionals. And I feel like, because I'm actually doing this online summit in a couple weeks, and they asked me if I could do something around LinkedIn. And I was like, yeah, because I mean, that's how, we had Danae on here a couple months ago, and that's how she built her entire business. And she's been able to retire her husband with that business. And she did it only on LinkedIn. That's it.
Yes.
All of her outreach was strictly on LinkedIn.
And Danae's amazing. I've worked with Danae in LinkedIn, but it was hard because to show results, she already has the results. She has spent she started off, a long time ago, way before people even really understood what LinkedIn did. And and in the financial industry, she was able to really capture that platform. I mean, I wish I could take her and just, also, pick her brain about how she did that, because it's incredible. But you're right. A stat to kind of throw at you with that is 1 in 4 users on LinkedIn are decision makers, CEOs. So, and there are over 650 million users on LinkedIn. Now, not everybody is active, but if that majority are business owners and CEOs, you're speaking to them. As in LinkedIn, you're speaking to Facebook, you're speaking to everyone, which is exciting. But it's the word strategic comes to mind, professional and strategic at LinkedIn. You can really hone in, and you can use your profile, and then you have to engage in your business page, but you have to engage like Danae has. And you have to do that to have it work. Right. So it's exciting. The opportunity is just huge.
It is. It really is. And again, what's key though about LinkedIn, where I feel like Facebook is a little different, is you are going to get the best results if and I always tell people, if you have that target market in mind, if you've got your niche or specialty like defined, and you can, like you said, hone in on those people that need that particular, and because people are always afraid that they're going to miss out on, all of the other thousands and millions of people out there. But all of those people, like, you can't handle that much business anyways. So when you could specialize in something, that's when you can really become a true expert in that area, and B, you can charge top dollar for your services, right?
Because you become an expert. And I guess I am an example of that, Laura.
Right.
I was doing it all, right, with you. And
that's right.
I was doing many, many different things. But it wasn't until the moment that I said, okay, this is where my heart wants to go. This is what I'm good at, right? I need to learn some of the technical aspects for sure. But when it comes down to the core of it, I'm good at this. And I went and I got I actually just did this with my website team. Is I came and I said, okay, what is my customer profiles about? And it's job seekers, virtual assistants, contractors, and business owners. And I'm very, very focused on that.
Right.
And so once you do that, things start to, you do become an expert, right?
You do. But then you find too, it still rolls into other industries. And so you're not really missing out. I feel like people really need to understand that, because it does roll over. Like our core business right now is, our, like a third, I should say, of our client base is attorneys, right?
Yeah.
So if I'm marketing to attorneys, we still have clients come in that aren't attorneys. But I've actually had people say to me, gosh, if you guys are working for attorneys and doing this good of a job for attorneys, imagine what you could do for my business. So I think people just really need to understand that you're not gonna get yourself, you're just not gonna be out of the market. You just hone in on that specialty and that target market, and opportunities will come from that.
Yeah. And, just building my website this year, I have a few things on there that I love to do. Right, Laura? Like I love to send potential virtual assistants to you and clients. I love that. And I do it all the time.
Right.
I do it all the time. I still have that as something that I do. I still have recruiting as something that I do. But my main focus right now is LinkedIn. And, I believe I worked for a client a couple weeks ago for you, right?
Yeah.
So you don't have to give it all up, but you do have to stay focused on what you're studying and what you choose to focus on. So I love how you put that. You don't have to give it all up.
No, you don't.
It'll come back to you, even if you focus on one thing.
Yeah, exactly.
No matter what you try to do.
So, and I know I ask this question a lot, but because a lot of times we just like to focus on or tell people, let's say, oh yeah, it's like all rainbows and sunshine, but we know it's not. So can you, just share, maybe a hurdle or something that you've overcome that might help, people in the industry?
Sure. I have a few, of course, don't we all?
Try to pick a few.
Yeah, I'll try. So I think my biggest failure, I wouldn't say failure, but challenge that I've gone through, the theme that has stuck with me is the imposter syndrome. What gives me the right to teach or be an expert in LinkedIn or in this or that? Do we all ask ourselves that question? I know we all do at some point, right, in our day. And I spent a lot of time thinking and not taking action because of this for a couple years. Right before I didn't know everything. I still am learning everything there is to know about LinkedIn, and it changes all the time, as it does in your industry, Laura.
Yep.
But when I decided that I am what I mentioned before about how in my core, I'm great. I have a connecting gift. And so understanding that, I realized there's always going to be something I need to learn and become an expert higher up. And when I got around that, that's when things started to happen for me. And the learning, e-learning and being able to have that tools and education right there for me anytime, anywhere has helped me get through that. The other thing is my children.
Wonderful little humans.
I hesitated to say that, but I think it's important to mention, right? Because I love my daughters. I have 2 daughters, 13 months apart. Excuse me. I was pregnant for 2 years and I was so sick. It was hard to get up every day, but I did. And I worked while I nursed. I worked while I took care of them by myself. My husband travels a lot and my family's in Boston and I'm in California. So it was hard. But they're also my reason to do it. Mm-hmm. And so I figured out the hardest part with the kids, and maybe other people have an opinion on this and want to comment, or it's kind of funny, is the starting and stopping, right? Yesterday, I was able to work for 3 hours, but then I had to stop for 4 hours to get them ready for the next day. And then I started again at 8, right? And the starting and the stopping is my biggest challenge. And so I'm starting to overcome that by accepting that and trying to build tools up around it so that I can still succeed and meet my goals.
Yeah. No, those are great ones. And I know kids, anybody with kids probably has run into the same thing. It's the reason why we do it, but it's also the one thing that can get us hung up, right? Yeah, because exactly. Then you always feel guilty. You feel guilty no matter what you do. You feel guilty if you do, you feel guilty if you don't. So, but the one thing I wanted to say, because you were talking about that imposter syndrome, and so many people feel that. And one thing I learned at this conference that I was at with Chrissy, somebody said something that really stuck with me. And they said, what you have to remember is you don't have to be like the end all be all expert. Yeah. You know more than the person coming to you for help. That makes you an expert, right?
It does.
Because somebody who has no clue how to really optimize their profile, you are the expert. You don't have to be the cream, the cream of the crop, but you know more than that person that's coming to you, and therefore you're an expert. And I think people feel like they have to have all of this accreditation behind them, but you really don't. You need to obviously understand it, know how you can help somebody, and be able to put a price on that. And that is what is going to make you an expert.
I love it. That's so true. And I went through that and I'm coming out the other side. And I do feel like I'm an expert now at LinkedIn. But last year, I was mediocre. But now you're right. People come to me and I think, oh, they already know that. And they don't. Right. Half the information that I share with them or teach them. I have a success story. Just last week, I got a client on Facebook through through a group, right? So encourage everybody to keep networking anywhere, right? Facebook, all social platforms. And she was just got into the second round of her interviews. She came to me as a job seeker with a job description and said, I need my profile to match this job description. I need them to give me an interview. And she's in her second round today. So, awesome. I guess I helped her with that. And it was just so gratifying. And you're right. You just start where you're at with what you know. Like you always say, Laura, start with what you know and build on that.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. And the thing is, you have to just work through that imposter syndrome. And it's not easy. We are our own worst enemies and critics. So, and that's another thing that I feel like I say all the time, but you always just have to keep going. Like you always have to keep moving forward. And you might end up in a completely different direction, but you just have to be able to work through it and never stop moving forward.
Yes, I agree.
What kind of opportunities, like aside even maybe from what you're doing right now, what other opportunities do you see for virtual assistants in this space? Like if somebody wanted to get started, like what could they start doing?
Sure. Well, I have two opportunities that I want to mention just in case, because I know LinkedIn is something that a lot of people haven't thought of before and are now thinking about it now, is that, you can, as you're starting your virtual assistant business, you should be on LinkedIn, right? You need to go into your account and you need to set up your profile and you need to put a picture of yourself. You need to put a cover photo and you need to work on your summary. Those would be the three things that I would recommend you do today, right? Go in there and take your headshot or a professional photo of yourself and put it there and get a cover photo that represents either your business or you. I have some clients and friends that like to put a cover photo of where they live,
Right.
picture of them where they live because it represents who they are. And that's how my website is. My cover photo is actually a place in my town because it's important to me. So do something like that represents you and your personal brand. And then, you also want to really focus on your summary. A lot of people talk about work experience, but your summary is the place where people will come first and you want to have the action of who you are, what you do, and what problem you solve for your clients. So those are three things you can do today to increase your visibility on LinkedIn, and it will have a huge impact. But some opportunities for our virtual assistants with LinkedIn, Laura, I don't know if you're asking that question, but I think it's important to mention is really, use LinkedIn to find clients. It's another place to find clients. And then as a virtual assistant, social media managers who focus solely on LinkedIn is huge. And it's going to grow with the interest people have with LinkedIn and the amount of momentum LinkedIn currently has. A lot of my clients work with me and they say to me, okay, now what? We've built their profile, we built their business page, and I provide them with a content calendar that gets them started so they can see how content on LinkedIn, you can repurpose, but there is a lot that is focused just on LinkedIn. And they say to me, well, what do I do now? And I'm not a social media manager. I don't really have interest in doing that. So hopefully someday I'll be hiring some of your VAs or my own people who are solely focused on LinkedIn, because it is it's a different animal compared to other social media platforms. So there's that. And then also you can add value to your current clients. If you have a client currently that maybe is looking to gain more sales and they haven't thought about LinkedIn, you can teach them, right? And help them get ahead and do that, and start with your own so that you can learn how to do it. Or you could also work with me.
Yeah, right, exactly.
So,
but honestly, I do think, especially anybody who does enjoy that social media space, I think that would be a really great, because we have people come to us that are looking solely for LinkedIn, and LinkedIn strategy, like you said, is every platform is different and has its own, well, obviously algorithm, but just the way that you need to kind of like hook people. And LinkedIn's really different. It's very professional. I know they're coming out with, they're testing it now with, and you have to have, I think, like a certain following, but with like a live video, like Facebook has live, LinkedIn is doing the live videos soon. So
it's actually active now for some. So within LinkedIn, your goal with LinkedIn is to be, a lot of people, especially when you're building your brand, want to become thought leaders, right? And so LinkedIn has established certain thought leaders, people that are well known in the industry, people who have a certain number of connections, who engage a certain amount. And so the algorithm, as well as LinkedIn's people, decides that. And so they've chosen a few to test out the LinkedIn Live, which is exciting, where there's a little button up there and you can click live and go ahead and do a live video, but not everybody has it. But that's another reason to get in there and start doing engagement so that you can gain access to some of these features. There's so many features coming out. There's now a feature where you can actually add a follow button to your page as well, which is exciting. I mean, it's growing. And so the need for people to be able to help clients manage that is increasing.
Yeah. And so, I mean, the more that I talk to different people, every month we're always talking to different people. Like last month we talked about membership sites. This month we're talking about LinkedIn. Like this industry is it's exploding. And it's only going to keep getting bigger. So I see so many times where people are like, but can I really make a living in this? Can I really do it? What do you say to somebody who asks you that question? Because like, I look at it and I'm like, oh my God, the possibilities are endless. But sometimes people can't see that. Like they can't see, what is that saying? They can't see the trees through the forest or the forest through the trees, whatever that is.
I'd say they just don't know what they don't know, right? They can't see it. And, Laura, with some of the talks that we've done in the past with Eva, right, about how to, how the virtual workforce can work for you. We talked a lot about that to college students, graduates, as well as business owners. But I think it's so important for people to know, and Laura knows we both have a huge passion for this, is that you can be freed from the 9 to 5. I live in a remote town in California. My husband travels. I have 2 young kids, and I have been able to make a good living, and I'm just getting started. So you can do it if you have something we all have something that we're good at, right? So think about what it is, and then go ahead and get started. And the possibilities are endless. I do want to say one other thing, Laura, that I forgot to mention with being successful in this space and the challenges. One of the things that's helped me get through that is always having a VA, right, on my side. So just about last 2 years ago, I started hiring virtual assistants for myself to grow my business. And I felt like I didn't have any business doing that because my business wasn't really up and running yet. But without that support, I wouldn't be where I am. Excuse my language, but shit hits the fan, right? You have kids and family, and you know, Laura. And when that happens, you almost need to expect it to happen and have somebody in place that knows you well enough, kind of like what we've done, Laura, that they can think for you when that happens. And you can say, okay, I need you this week. And they can come in and keep things moving for you.
Right.
That's been a huge help with the success that I've had this year.
Yeah. And that is huge. I mean, I couldn't have done it last year without you. There's just no way. But like I said, like Jessica just came in, she took over my brain. it was awesome. So what, and maybe we already did this, but like, what are some like parting words of advice or encouragement, that you would give somebody who wants to be a virtual assistant or is doubting whether they can actually, do it or not?
Okay. Well, again, I mentioned this, but figure out what you do best and just start there. Write down a list of the things, not just what people tell you do best, but what you like to do and what you do best. Put it on paper, look at it, and then get started. I spent a long time, working as a virtual assistant, and working with all those different types of clients gave me that opportunity to see what I was really good at, right? But we all know inside what we love to do. So just try to find that, bring it out, put it on paper, and get started. I recommend e-learning. So the VA school is something that can help you. I am actually starting a workshop coming up here this fall. I'm hoping it'll be ready within the month, where I want to offer a do-it-yourself program for people to learn how to handle their LinkedIn accounts and learn all the ins and outs. And so just tools like that are available, whatever it may be that you love to do, just get started. And don't look back.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the hard part is getting started. So that's what I feel like if we can somehow hammer that into people's minds, like you have to get started, like you've got to set that time aside. It's no different than like right now, for example, I'm taking this course, this Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Business Program. I'll tell you what, it's very difficult right now to run this agency run the course and the hub and then find time to go to school and do the homework. But I know that it's going to be worth it in the end. And so I just know, like, you do whatever you have to do to pump yourself up, but like, I'm going to do this, I'm going to get through it. And I see the light at the end of the tunnel. So
yeah, no, that's it. And life's going to happen, right?
Yes.
And life's always going to happen. And so I think relying on others and Laura, I've read a lot about who's your accountability partner. You have been such a big part of that for me, is also partnering yourself with people who are doing things that you want to do. So I've watched Laura build this agency, and it's always been a dream of mine. And I have really young kids right now. My life's a little bit different, and like her life was like that before. And so it's wonderful to be around people who are doing things that you aspire to do, because it helps you grow. And it does help to look at someone else and say, hey, you did that, I can do that too.
Right.
So the relationships you have, the partnerships you have, if you have a partner, they need to be on board. So do your best to connect with people, and that will help you get started and get over that hump, right? To make it happen. So yeah, that's what I would say. I love this space, and I hope everybody gets the opportunity to work where they want, do what they want, and still have time to be with the people they love. So,
yeah. Awesome. All right. Thank you so much, Jess. It was awesome having you on here. Any parting words, anything you want to say? Do you, well, I want to, I know you are working on that, the workshop that you mentioned. So when that's ready, you can go ahead and put the link in the hub so people can, join your workshop.
Sure. And Laura, I'm not sure if anybody knows, but I'm also offering my LinkedIn creation audits and edits through Eva as well. So if anybody's interested, we can put the service page in the comments, Laura. If anybody wants to set up an appointment with me, I do a 15-minute consult just to find out what your intention is for LinkedIn and make sure that I can help you. But I would love to help anybody who's looking at jumping into LinkedIn head first.
Awesome. All right. Thanks so much, Jess.
Thank you, Laura. It was great. Have a wonderful day.
All right. You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right, guys. So now you got another VA success story. Jessica's story. I mean, she's very near and dear to me. We've been through a ton of stuff together, and what she said about, you always want to be with people who are either at your level or maybe at a level that you want to be at, because it not only helps keep you going, but they're there for you to kind of mentor you through. My kids are older now. My youngest is in high school, but I lived through all of those years, and I was so, in my situation, I didn't want to have a giant agency type basis when my kids were young, which I think is what Jessica was kind of saying too. So I worked as a virtual assistant, and in a capacity that I knew I could handle and still be super present, for my kids. Be there whenever they needed me there. And then, I had gone through a divorce, and I was raising 3 kids by myself. And, being able to just run them all over the place and work around that schedule instead of the other way around. So I just want you guys to know, even those of you who maybe you're heading into it, maybe you're not sure if you want, maybe you're in the thick of it right now and you're like, oh my God, I don't know if I can keep going. Just keep going. You can do it. If this is what you want to do, you can definitely keep going, and, you'll make it. I mean, we all do. There were times I thought, Jesus, I am just not going to even make it to tomorrow, when I had all 3 kids going in sports and working. And actually I started the agency about that time. I couldn't even look past 3 days ahead on my calendar because it would stress me out so much. So chunk it down, do whatever you have to do, but just don't stop. Okay. I really want you guys to keep going, because there is just so much opportunity in this space. And Yeah, so thank you. I know ran a little bit longer than we usually do, but I hope you guys found, hope you found what you were looking for. Hope you found even some little nuggets of advice to take away. And we'll be sure to drop links to everything that we were talking about. And if you guys need anything, feel free to reach out, throw a comment, and we will be here to answer it for you. All right. Thanks, guys. Have a good one. Enjoy the rest of your week.